Hey everyone, and welcome to another Sasquatch Theory podcast. On this episode, we have Rob from Pennsylvania, and he had a Bigfoot encounter near the Allegheny National Forest. I thought it was interesting because one of Rob's friends had a Dogman encounter right down the road. Is it a coincidence? Maybe, but I don't think so. I've noticed a lot of Bigfoot reports are in the same areas where people have had Dogman encounters. On these maps, it's also the same areas where people go missing, people encounter UFOs, and there are large cave systems. Maybe it's all coincidence, but I do not believe so. I think everything is connected. Pennsylvania seems to be a hotspot for Bigfoot activity, and I'm sure the caves, springs, and large forests have a lot to do with it, and it's probably the perfect place for these things to live. If you guys enjoy Sasquatch Theory, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. And if you have a Bigfoot or cryptid encounter that you would like to share with me here on the channel, please contact me sometime. Alright guys, with all that being said, let's dive straight into Rob's Bigfoot encounter from the state of Pennsylvania. All right, Rob, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Miguel. How are you today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Rob, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your Bigfoot encounters and experiences from the very beginning.
Well, I'm from Pennsylvania, Northwestern. A lot of Bigfoot sightings around up in this area, especially from all the podcasts and stuff I've been looking into lately this past year. My sighting was when I was 15. It's back in summer of 1999. And what was right about end of May, beginning of June. So the weather was nice. I was on a school bus, and the way the school bus goes back up in this hollow is it turns around and then it comes down the road to drop like the kid furthest up the road off. So the sighting was right about in between 3:34 p.m. and we were coming down the road and the bus was slowing down. So I was looking off to the right and I seen at first what I thought was like a man in a huge Carhartt suit. But then I was thinking, I was like, who would be out in a full Carhartt suit like this time of year? Like it's warm. Like I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. Like all the windows are down on the bus. Like this guy's got to be sweating. And it looked like he had a beanie on his head because it was kind of conical shaped. And like at first what I was thinking was like the big sunglasses. And then it kind of stepped out into like there's a little lease road with a gate that goes up at an angle right across from this girl's house. And it stepped out into that. And then I like stood up in my seat so I could see out the open window on the top part of the bus. And it was probably maybe 20, 25 feet away. And then I realized it wasn't a man in a big Carhartt jumpsuit and a beanie on and glasses. It was a Bigfoot. Like one thing I specifically remember as soon as I looked at it, and it must have like it looked right at me, like it seen me, like pop my head out the window of the bus. It like immediately took like a sharp right, like it was, and then it reached its hand out and like grabbed the tree there, and then like it stepped behind it, and then the bus was like coming to a stop right there. And I looked and I said to the girl that was getting off the bus, I said, "Hey, when you get off, look up there. There's a Bigfoot up there in the woods." And she says, "Yeah, right. And I'm P. Diddy." And then she gets off the bus. And then as soon as she got off. I looked. She just turned and walked across the road, but I was looking back up through there the whole time, and I could never see it again. Like I have no idea where it went, but I mean, I know what I saw. And one thing I can specifically remember about it is how long its arms were. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You've seen them.
So it had like a long set of arms and like the swinging motion. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Like it turned. You can tell like it was kind of like walk a little bit hunched over, and its knees were bent a little bit. But I mean, it was, and it wasn't big and bulky as like the patty film. It was more, I would say, like lean, but I could see through its hair. Like I could see its muscle. You know what I mean? Like I could see the body of the animal as well. Or I mean, I think it's more human personally. Like its face looked kind of gray and weathered, but it looked like a man's face.
Can you describe the features on the creature? Like, did it have a round head or a conical shaped head? Could you see
Yeah,
the eyes?
it was more conical shape, and I would say like the eyes were like big and dark. Its face was more like, you know what I mean, like a Neanderthal caveman looking face, weathered. You know what I mean? The big wide nose, the big mouth, a little bit of hair on its chin and stuff. Not really like a big beard, and then the hair was, I would say, like maybe 5 inches long, 5 to 6 inches long. It was black. Its skin was like that weathered gray. And then, yeah, once it kind of disappeared behind them trees, like I couldn't ever see it again. And like the whole way as the bus was pulling away, like I just kept looking back up through there, even to look to see if something crossed the road, but I never seen it again. And then by the time I got home and got dropped off, like I can't remember if I went in and told my mom or whatnot, but like, I hopped on my bicycle and I rode back up there just to look. Like I didn't venture too far up into the woods, but like I was just looking. Like I would have to estimate the height of it between 7 to 8 feet.
What do you think the creature was up to?
Like to me, it looked like it was like the way it was walking across that little. It's kind of like a big ditch line, and then it comes down into their yard. But it was walking back like in the wood line, like 5 6 yards, and it was kind of brushy. So it looked more like a silhouette until it stepped out into where that lease road was. Like to me, it looked like it was trying to get set up somewhere, like it did often to watch maybe the kids get off the bus or something.
Yeah, that's a good theory. It was probably used to watching the little kids get off the bus, and it may be a routine for it.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, very interesting. So this happened in June around 3 or 4 p.m., correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's been Bigfoot sightings there in the past. Am I right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Where do you think they're coming from? Is there like a national forest or wilderness area nearby or big woods?
Yep. The Allegheny National Forest is right up through here.
Okay. Yeah. So it's probably hanging out in the Allegheny forest. Have you had any more experiences after this encounter?
Yes. Um. Well, after that like I not being able to ever see anything else. Like I didn't really think about it for a long time. Like I knew like I could possibly see one again, but like I never told anybody other than that girl when she was getting off the bus. And it's, you know what I mean? Like as soon as she like shut you down right in your face, I was just kind of like, yeah, I see where telling it. Everybody is going where to get to. So I never really told anybody else until like this last year. Because where my property is now, this sighting, when I seen this, that Bigfoot, that was in New York State, Cattaraugus County, not too far across from the Pennsylvania borderline. And right up through that area is like the Seneca Nation Indians.
Okay, so what happened with your next experience?
Um, where do I want to start at? Yeah, so I was saying I didn't really think about it for a long time until my son and we went backpacking up through this valley and not too far up from our house. And my buddy lives right down near the bend where we kind of parked at and hiked back up through. And I I let him know that we were going to be parking there, and we'd be a day or two before we got back. And he said, "Are you taking your pistols with you?" I said, "Yeah, we're gonna have our pistols on." He said, "Okay." So we went about our trip, and we had a good time. And we got back, and then everything went good. Nothing happened on that trip. And I want to say it was summertime. I ran into a kid I went to school with. He's a logger, and he was logging out in Susquehanna National Forest. And he towed his camper out there just to stay because he was like 30 miles back in from the main road, so it was easier for him just to stay a few nights right out there. But he was telling me some of his crazy experiences that he was having back in there. And when I ran into him, it was right here at a little local bar, and I could tell like he was scared, like he didn't want to go back out there. So I let him stay in my camper here on my property. And then after he told me that, like it got me thinking about when I seen one. And let me see here. I went down the next morning, and he was already up and gone. So I didn't really get to talk to him too much after that day. And I haven't really ran into him since either to ask him any other questions about it because I was kind of curious. And, you know, I mean, it's right around here, and you don't really hear too many people talking about it unless you're looking for it on a podcast or researching it. And then it brings me to back to this. So now I'm thinking about this stuff. And then I stop up to my buddy's house up the road here for a little fire. And he was asking me how my son and I's camping trip went back up through the valley. And I was telling him, I said, it was pretty good. He's like, yeah. He's like, I got to tell you something. He's like, and I'm only telling you this because you go back up in there camping and stuff. But he's like, I seen this huge dog man walking right here in my backyard. And then like, because he asked me if I believed in cryptid cryptids? And I told him, I said, yes, I do. I said, and then like he was the first person I've ever told. I was like, I've seen a Bigfoot back when I was younger. I was like, I've seen it up close. I know what I seen. I said, so I believe you. And like he was explaining this thing to me. And we were sitting there by the fire, and I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, if I seen it, I was like, I would definitely shoot it. And right about the time I said that, like this huge tree come crashing down, like back in down by the creek. And then he looked at me, he's like, see? He's like, dude, there's some crazy stuff up through here. And yeah, we seen some weird lights up in the sky too that night. We kind of watched them go through.
Like you,
Definitely not a plane or anything.
yeah,
We didn't really know what they were.
like UFOs up in the sky or like orbs in the
Yeah,
forest. Okay.
no, like up in the sky. But he was telling me like he's seen some weird orbs like on the tops of the tree lines up through some of the mountains. Because he works like midnight, so a lot of times like he's pulling into his house like 3 in the morning. So and he says it's usually when he's on his way home. Which I mean, there's a lot of people that ride side by sides and stuff too. That's what I was asking. Like, do you think it could have been like side by sides riding the tops of a hill or something? And he's like, no. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and since like that knowing that Dogman's back up through there, like I don't even go fly fishing up in there these past 2 years.
What did he say about the dog man? Like, what did it look like? How big was it?
He said it was like we walked back and looked at the bush that he said he's seen it like lift its arm over, and like the top of that bush was like 9 feet. So it's I mean it's pretty tall. And he said like the muscles on it were outrageous. He's like it was something. He's like something you couldn't even dream up in a comic book. He said it was like unreal. He said kind of like the bigger German Shepherd head, huge teeth. So like 3 to 5 inches long, and then the canines were even a little bit longer. So I'm guessing maybe top of its head, maybe like 12 feet ish. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to snow in that rate. I mean, it's like not even 4 miles up from my house.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Too close for comfort, anyways. What other experiences have you had after this? And did the activity continue?
Yeah, some couple weird experiences this hunting season is my brother and I, we have a lease. It's just I have my property, and then my neighbor has like 80 acres, and then right on the other side of their property we have our hunting lease with a timber company, and that's 450 acres. But I was back up in there bear muzzleloader season. What I had my bow with me because you can also use your bow at that time. And then I had my pistol in my pack as well. And I sat on my tree stand, kind of goes back up through this little deep cut, um, rocky, ridgy, where the streams kind of come down and meet and run off the top of the mountain there. And I hunted till dark, didn't see anything. It wasn't dark. It was just getting to where it's like I wouldn't be able to shoot anything if it came through. And my four-wheeler is less than 200 yards away. So I climbed down, and then as I just about get to my four-wheeler, like, I could hear something off to my left, kinda, like, paralleling me, and then I strap my bow onto my four-wheeler, s and I could hear it, like, taking some more steps, but it sounded like bipedal to me, and then I kinda just said, like, "I'm finishing up hunting. I'm gonna if you're a Bigfoot, I'm gonna be leaving and heading to my house." And then I drove down to my house, which it takes, like, maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes to come down the Leach Road and then shoot down to my house. And then I come in and I was sitting eating dinner with my kids because my wife had just left for work, and I was telling them, I said, "I heard something kinda walking next to me." I was like, "I couldn't see it." I was like, I flashed my light over. I was like, "I couldn't see anything." I was like, and I literally said out loud to him, I was repeating this to my kids what I'd just seen, and my oldest son's like, "Yeah," he's like, "You never know." I was like, "Yeah, I know they're around here." I was like, "And there's that dog man up the road," and we'd be asked about it for a little bit. Maybe like 2 hours went by after cleaning up from dinner, and then I'd walked out on my balcony, and the owls were going crazy over here in my pines, but it sounded like some big owls to me. And like a lot of heavy branch breaking, and then I don't know, like I to me, like, it felt like something different that I haven't really witnessed. Like, it didn't sound like owls to me. So I had said, out loud, like, "Hey, I stay out of your guys' area when you're up. So this is my property. You have to go back up to your area." And like, my neighbors have some ducks. They're kind of annoying. They're always beating beating down right in front of my front door all the time. I said, "Take one of these white ducks and get out of here." And then I'd come back in the house. And then the next morning, I went back up on the lease. Instead of going to that spot I hunted the previous evening, I went down more towards the thickets where the pine edge kind of meets, and it's like a good walking area for game, right in those transition areas. And I just tucked back up into the brush line on the ground, and I heard some heavy steps coming, and I just sat there and like waited, like it didn't sound like a deer. I was like, "Ooh, maybe a bear's coming out of here," because my brother killed his bear the year before, right in that same spot. And then it just kind of stopped, and I heard a couple more heavy thumps through there, and then it stopped. And I'd sat there for maybe a good 5 minutes, and then I was like, I don't know, maybe it's not a bear coming. And then I heard a quack like a duck. So I unzipped my pack and like just kind of slid my pistol on top of it and just sat there for like another hour. And I never heard or seen anything else. And then I came back home for the morning. And then I was telling my kid about it. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, it's like 3 days in a row, like something weird happened. And then like the neighbors were Wait, like one of the white ducks was gone. Really weird.
Yeah, that is strange. Maybe they took one of the ducks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, and just saying it out all out loud, like piecing the couple days there together like that, just very high strangeness. I mean, anything could have taken a duck, but just for everything to kind of just line right up like that seemed really, really squatchy to me.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it was the same clan of Sasquatch, or do you think it was a completely different group? Like, do you think they followed you?
Yeah, I think they followed me. I really do. I think they followed me. And
Didn't?
but I haven't had any like anything on my property since either though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe they were just passing through. Did more activity happen after that?
No, that's the last that's happened to me. Yeah, my question for you is more about like that dog man. Like I've even before I knew that dog man was back up through that valley is anytime I would ever go fishing up there, like I made sure I always took someone with me. And I've hunted back through there. I've killed my biggest white-tailed deer back up that through that valley.
Yeah.
And even some of those areas back in there, like I've walked into them before and kind of just turn around and walk back out.
Well, I do
And this
know
is
where the Dogman reports are taking place is the same places that people have seen Sasquatch at in the past. So it doesn't surprise
yeah.
me.
Yeah, I mean there's a bunch of beaver ponds and all of that back up through there, big pines, oak hilltops, all the game they would want. Ever since that tree crashed, like after I said I would shoot it, like I don't know, I feel like it knows that if I'm in there, like I would shoot it if I seen him.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's almost like they can understand what we're saying.
Oh yes, I'm pretty sure it can because my buddy was telling me the one night he got home from work, he could see like the shadow of it, like the figure size of it over on the edge of the yard, and he said it said his name.
Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that. I had a buddy in the Mark Twain National Forest that said the Sasquatch said his name, and I don't know how they would know his name, but that's just creepy to think.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't really been up ever since he told me that, like I haven't been back up through there. Not even hunting these last 2 years.
Yeah, I don't blame you. When you have an encounter and then you hear that someone had a dogman experience, kind of makes you not want to go back to that area.
Yeah, so that's I mean that's the really all I have for um the Sasquatch experience.
Okay. Well, Rob, you did an excellent job at relaying your experiences and encounters to me. And I really appreciate you for getting in contact with me and sharing it openly here on Sasquatch Theory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to thank everybody out there for sharing their experiences too.
Yeah, absolutely. It
I
means a
mean,
lot to
because
me.
for a long time, I mean, like I felt if I seen one or someone told me about seeing one, like I kind of wanted to see one again just to kind of like confirm it because it was, you know what I mean? Like it's been a long time, but listen to everyone's experiences this last year and a half. Uh, I mean, that's kind of pretty much confirmation for me. Like I don't need to see one again.
Yeah, for sure. One time is enough. And yeah, if you end up going back to that area and run into one of these creatures again, feel free to reach out to me. I'd certainly love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Okay, Rob. Well, I'm going to let you go for now, and I really appreciate your time and effort. And yeah, you be safe out there if you do go back into the forest.
Yeah, thank you, Miguel.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, I will let you go, and I hope you have a good evening. All right.
You too.
All right. Take care. Alrighty, Rob, thank you very much for sharing your Bigfoot encounter with me here on Sasquatch Theory. And you seem to be pretty sure that what you encountered was a Sasquatch creature, and I don't blame you for making the report because I feel like if you saw a bear, you would know for sure that it was a bear. And I know a lot of times people probably see a bear partially, or maybe even a Sasquatch, and just say, okay, that was just a bear, because that happened to me as well. And basically, I just saw this creature on all fours move through the brush, and I thought it was either hogs, turkeys, or possibly a bear until it stood up and hid behind a tree slowly. And I thought about that for an entire year, like, what the heck was that? Man, that is an intelligent bear to know to hide behind a tree like that slowly. And it wasn't until these creatures showed up where I'm living at that I figured out, like, okay, this is what they're doing. They're hiding behind trees, and people are just misidentifying Sasquatch and claiming that they possibly saw a bear. But who knows? Maybe there's a lot of people out there that think they saw a bear and it was actually a Sasquatch. But yeah, I feel like for sure that this was no known animal other than a bear. And yeah, the fact that there was a Dogman encounter right down the road is extremely creepy, and it makes you wonder if they're connected, if it's just another breed of let's just say humans, if they were mixed with something else. But yeah, if you guys can, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you have a Bigfoot encounter that you would like to share with me, please contact me sometime by email. And if you guys do contact me, it's to log down your report on the channel, okay? Fortunately, I don't have time to just talk to everyone about Bigfoot and what they've seen. I'm trying to log down every report to get the word out there. And there are a lot of people that contact me and say, I just want to talk to you, I don't want to be on the show, which is fine, but now that where I'm at, I just don't have time to speak with everyone unless it's for the channel. And if you contact me, be sure that when we talk, that will be the podcast, okay? A lot of people want to talk 2 times about their encounters, and sometimes we can talk for 2 or 3 hours. So unfortunately, I don't have time to speak with everyone 2 or 3 times about the same encounter. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for listening, and I hope the best for everyone. And until the next one, you guys be safe out in the forest.